Here in New York City, the Shabbat Empire State Building is the world's largest store, bearing its most elaborate Christmas fantasy in history and heralding the start of the Christmas season. With great pageants of fun and make-believe, the baton-swinging, toe-tapping rhythms of the best band in the land. A fabulous spectacle to delight the eyes and ears of kids from 6 to 60. Led by a police honor guard of New York's finest. Here it is, Macy's 33rd Annual Thank.
Presented by the Ideal, makers of the new life-size Play Pal dolls, the fabulous electronic fighter jet, and Shirley Temple dolls. And by Lionel Trains, who give you a lifetime investment in happiness. Lionel, the leader in model railroading.
Well, good morning. Bill Wendell here at NBC's reviewing stand opposite Macy's store, where our cameras are all set to bring you this giant parade this morning. Just it will be seen by about 2.5 million people who have lined the sidewalks of old New York. Here we go.
Yes, sir, and this is Gene Rayburn on the corner of 35th Street and Broadway, ready to enjoy with you the gigantic floats, the rousing music, and the best bands in America, famous stars from television, Broadway, and Hollywood. Let's go! The Charleroi High School Band of Charleroi, Pennsylvania, in their striking white coats and brilliant red trousers, they make a dramatic appearance as the leading band in this sparkling pageant. These boys and girls come from the outskirts of Pittsburgh, home of many of our great steel mills, which makes it appropriate that they salute with the March of the Steelmen.
Here comes the first float in the parade, straight out of storybook land, a glittering castle covered with the sparkle of snowflakes. Reading from a book big enough to hold all the fairy tales ever told is, well, someone whose name and face is probably known everywhere in the world, one of the most famous and best loved of all the great movie stars, the little girl who was America's favorite little princess, now grown up to be our storybook queen, Shirley Temple. Well, so they could be together for this holiday. Shirley Temple's children are here with her on that first trip to New York. That's Susan, age 11, Charles Jr., age 7, and the youngest girl is Laurie, age 5, and that fourth little girl is this Shirley Temple doll. They've had an exciting trip by jet plane from California, and there they are on a float down Broadway. Hi, Shirley.
And now from deep in our Southland comes this group of beautiful Dixie Bells, the Monroe Girls Corps of Monroe, Georgia. They're proud to be known as Georgia's Daughters of Goodwill, and they've traveled mighty far and wide. They're a wonderful, colorful group in their electric blue satin and white uniforms, and the 7,500 folks back home in Monroe can be mighty proud of the show the youngsters are putting on. Let's listen.
and very special moment in this year's parade, the return of Gorgeous Gobbler. Last year, old Gorgeous was grounded. Well, he's back this year, strutting proud and sassy down Broadway. When he's not blown up, Gorgeous Gobbler weighs over 300 pounds, and if he were edible and could be sliced up for Thanksgiving Day dinners, somebody figured out he could make about 5,200 dinners. Save a drumstick for me.
From the land of the tumbleweed in the open range where the good man wins and the bad man hits the dust is one of television's top cowboys, Chuck Connors. Here he is. Chuck, one of the tallest cowboys in the saddle, standing 6 feet, 6 inches tall. Many of you know that Chuck Connor used to be a first baseman with the Brooklyn Dodgers before he traded his baseball bat for a rifle. But Chuck went to California before the Dodgers did and became what lots of you boys wish you could be, a cowboy with a horse and a rifle and his own television show, Chuck Connors.
Your grandpa and grandma were still young folks. Grandfather wore a big handlebar mustache, and grandmother wore a dress shaped like an hourglass. Bet she did. Well, they never heard of rock and roll. It's like a look into yesterday as we hear an old-fashioned song medley. Well, here's a preview of an exciting Christmas morning scene all over America.
Parades and shopping, carolers and excitement, and great expectations. And finally it comes, Christmas morning. Ah, what wild and wonderful dreams are waiting to come true beneath this tree. A certain present here will make this Christmas the one to be remembered always. A Lionel electric train. It will grow in value and importance during the years ahead by helping to train these children for adulthood early in life, teaching them control, giving them a sense of responsibility while they're having fun. And what fun! This is Lionel's helicopter car. It actually launches a copter that takes off and flies like a real helicopter. And take a look at this IRBM missile launcher. Press a button and off it goes to a target that blows up. And watch, this amazing target car can easily be put back together by any boy or girl and blown up again and again. Fun's the word for a Lionel electric train because you're in charge. Yep, on the Lionel line, you're the boss. Lionel trains will make this Christmas one to be remembered always.
Boys and girls, this year, remember to ask for Lionel trains for Christmas.
And now, for the first time in a Thanksgiving Day parade, a band from the rock-bound state of Maine, the Westbrook High School Band from Westbrook, Maine. These boys and girls are having a fine time here in the big town, and among the many highlights of their trip here was a visit to last night's Perry Como show. Next week, incidentally, Perry's guests will be Dolores Gray, Andy Griffith, and Joe Bushkin. Here is the Westbrook High School Band, Westbrook, Maine.
From the stage of famous Radio City Music Hall here in New York comes this beautiful surprise package. It's wrapped in fancy gift wrapping and tied with a red bow 6 feet long. And stepping out of it comes the big surprise in just a second. 36 beautiful and talented dancers, internationally acclaimed for their grace and precision. The world-famous Radio City Music Hall Rockettes. Millions of tourists come to New York on vacation, and for most of them, well, the highlight of their trip is a visit to see these fabulous gals. The Radio City Music Hall Rockettes. Just wonderful.
Ladies and gentlemen, making their premiere appearance, here comes the largest marching band ever to appear in the entire history of Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. From Suitland, Maryland, the Suitland High School Band, the biggest band in all the land. This impressive group of 194 is made up of a white band of 68 members each, a red band with 68 members each, and a group of 66 rhythmettes. Looking just as if they'd stepped right out of the pages of a storybook,
Here come some friends I know you know and love. Seated on the largest pumpkin I've ever seen is a Cinderella who would catch the eye of any handsome prince. There she is, Miss Connie Francis, MGM recording star and one of the top singers in the country. Hey, did you ever see a huge rocking horse? There's one, 12 feet high. Ride him, cowboy. And here's 3 men in a tub. Rub-a-dub-dub. And the old woman who lived in a shoe. She only brought 3 of her children along. I think the other 400 are home watching the parade on television. And there's the famous cow that jumps over the moon. Here comes little Miss Muffet. The little girl playing that is, and Macy Hertridge. And, of course, Mother Goose herself. Here she comes. Playing the part of Mother Goose is a wonderful comedian of the Broadway stage and television, Pat Carroll.
And now from the historic old state of Virginia, the Prince George High School Senior Band. You know, it's appropriate that these youngsters from Virginia, sometimes called the Mother of State, should have as their theme here today, From the Old to the New, as Virginia, the Old Dominion, welcomes our newest state, Hawaii. Prince George High School Senior Band.
Well, the cliffs and canyons of old New York echo now to the strains of long-ago tunes from the hills and valleys of Scotland, to the Marylandette twirlers of Toledo and Sandusky, Ohio. Incidentally, one of the very first majorette corps in the entire United States. Their trophy shelves are brimming over with more than 50 first-place trophies they've won. Dressed in their new blue Scotch plaids, they're a bonny sight to see. All right, lads.
turn the clock back and see Shirley Temple as a little girl in Hollywood.
Once there was a movie star named Shirley Temple. She was so beautiful, Ideal made a doll to look just like her. A Shirley Temple doll. Same dimples, golden curls you can really shampoo, and her skin feels almost real. Your Shirley Temple doll comes beautifully dressed. Just right for a tea party with your own Shirley Temple tea set. Ask Mommy to get you Ideal's Shirley Temple doll at your favorite toy store tomorrow.
Flight leader to Ideal fighter jet, clear for takeoff.
Roger! This is fighter jet and making a left bank to join formation.
Flight leader to Ideal fighter jet, turn indicator on. Red warning light will tell you when you're off course. You're flying by radar. Hold her steady. Enemy plane coming in at 2 o'clock. Enemy out of machine gun range. Set your rangefinder. Get set to use rockets.
He's in my sight. Rockets ready. Fire 1, fire 2, 3, 4.
Flying in Ideal's electronic fighter jet is like flying a real jet fighter. You work the throttle, indicators, radar scope, and warning light. You control 6 moving targets via 4 rocket guns. Buy Ideal's fighter jet wherever good toys are sold.
It's a wonderful toy. It's Ideal.
You can get the Ideal Shirley Temple doll and fighter jet at toy stores everywhere. Half Bugle will travel. That might well be the motto of this sprightly group, for they've traveled over 150,000 miles by bus, plane, and train from Canada to Florida. They're the Riley Raiders of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. These boys have a fantastic record as champions. Out of 135 contests they've entered, they've won 106 times, and they're especially proud to be the only corps in the country to win both the American Legion and the VFW National Championships. The Riley Raiders.
Magic carpet sweeps into view now, escorted by girls who seem to have wings on their feet, but...
33rd Annual Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade will continue after a brief pause for station identification.
Ed Wynn stars in Miracle on 34th Street in color Friday.
At 35th Street and Broadway, this is Gene Rayburn to bring you more of this fabulous parade. Here's someone in keeping with today's space age, one of the giant balloons you see only in this great parade, Spaceman. If it weren't for the fact that 40 men are holding him down, Spaceman probably would head right out there for outer space. Of all the giant balloons you'll see here today, Spaceman is the largest. It took 3 hours to inflate him at the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company, where he was constructed. It took thousands of hours of skilled technicians to put him together. There he is, Spaceman, floating away. One of the things you can't see in this parade History rides again, and one of the top singing stars of musical comedy.
This band, one of the finest in the country, is the Picayune High School Band of Picayune, Mississippi, near New Orleans. Now, these youngsters are not only having a lot of fun, but they're also broadening their education. They stopped over for 2.5 days to visit the national shrines in Washington, D.C., and they'll now spend 2.5 days here in New York visiting museums, the UN, and other places of interest. Let's hear them. A merry old soul was he. He called for his pipe, he called for his bowl, and he called for his fiddlers 3, but up came 12. Here they are, count them.
And the merriest old King Cole I've ever seen, sitting there in a bowl full of shimmering jelly, is none other than the funny man of stage, screen, and TV, Jules Munchin.
Well, you know, Broadway is a sea of great bands, floats, fabulous balloons. What more could delight the hearts of kids young and old alike than to visit one of the greatest clowns of all time, Mr. Ed Wynn. Mr. Wynn, it's just wonderful to have you here with us this morning.
Oh, I never miss a parade, Bill. I love them.
Well, it's great. How did you get away from rehearsals, though? You're in rehearsal for that great show on NBC tomorrow night, The Miracle on 34th Street.
Yeah, that's right. You know, I should be at rehearsal, but I've been playing hooky. I couldn't resist seeing the Macy parade.
How do you like it? What do you think of it?
Oh, I don't know. It's just marvelous. I would like to see much more of the parade. I just want to say goodbye to the children. Have a nice Thanksgiving, boys and girls.
Thank you very much, Mr.
you're
Wynn.
welcome.
And we'll be watching tomorrow night on NBC television for Ed Wynn in The Miracle on 34th Street. Just wonderful. Well, what better name for a group than comes from the towering city of New York than the Skyliners? These are boys who grew up in the shadow of the skyscrapers and had Times Square for their backyard. They're hometown boys. Skyliners were formed about 10 years ago, and just 1 year ago, after they were formed, they captured the national championships of the American Legion in the senior division. And for 3 consecutive years, they retained that title. Here they are.
A 2-ring circus mounted on a float, performing as easily as if they were right at home in the sawdust ring in the Big Tent. The biggest little circus ring in the world, featuring in the forward ring those master jugglers, Angelita and Betty Gorham. Keep an eye on them as they juggle just about everything you would imagine. There they are, juggling away. And in the same ring, the goofiest and greatest trampoline artists, the Puckers. In the second ring, an act to thrill any circus lover, something you see usually high overhead on the big top, the Orioles, way up there.
Now, Ideal wants you to meet the greatest new doll since Mommy was a little girl.
Look who's come to your house to stay. A pal you can play with all day long. She's Patty Playpal, a big doll, big as a 3-year-old, and Patty's real as life. Patty's beautiful hair can be brushed, braided, or put into a ponytail. And Patty Playpal, big as she is light and easy to carry. You can dress her in your own clothes because Patty Playpal is almost your size. She can wear your pajamas and stay overnight, too. Yes, Patty's a wonderful friend. She's just one of the ideal Playpal family. Starting at $12, there's Johnny Playpal, Susie Playpal, and Penny Playpal, too. Meet Patty and all her Playpal family at your favorite store.
She's a wonderful doll. She's ideal.
3, 2, 1, blast off. She's up. Come in, Ideal countdown control. Ready for second launching.
Atlas moving into position.
Fuel her up.
All set.
Countdown.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4,
can be in command of your own ideal countdown. It's a real electronic missile base. You sit at the controls and move missiles into place. You count down. You blast off. You track the flight. The ideal countdown comes complete with moon missile and lunar probe, as well as the giant atlas. Get your electronic ideal countdown now, wherever good toys are sold.
It's wonderful. It's ideal.
Remember, you can get the ideal countdown at toy stores everywhere. Well, you know, in the old days, the news that the Buccaneers were coming would give everybody the shakes and the shivers because Buccaneers were pirates who boarded ships and got into all sorts of mischief. But today, it's all in fun as we welcome the Buccaneer Band of the Mainland High School from Daytona Beach, Florida. Now, these Buccaneers are bent on mischief, but it's all for the fun of putting on a spectacular show for your enjoyment. So let's watch them. Here they are.
Mighty spinach eater with a jutting chin and his corncob pipe, Popeye the Sailor Man. You've seen him in the movies and comic strips and on television, and here he is just about 50 times as big as life on his annual stroll down Broadway. It took 20 men working round the clock for 75 days at the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company to create this giant. At his full height, Popeye stands 56 feet tall, and that's taller than Chuck Connors. His hands are 10 feet long, which means you could hold about 5 of you boys and girls in the palm of his hand. There he goes, Popeye. Ladies and gentlemen, almost from the beginning of recorded time, there's been a strong man in every community called Hercules. The closest thing we have to a Hercules in our own country is Paul Bunyan, the legendary lumberjack. The Greeks made songs and poems to honor the strongest man in the land. Today, Hercules and his mighty deeds are recorded in song and story, and even in the movies. He's been seen all around the country, and you'll be seeing more of him as Embassy Pictures brings us more movies about Hercules and his adventures. There he is, the strong man, Hercules.
Meet some more chaps. These boys are members of the Washington Carver Drum and Bugle Corps of Newark, New Jersey. The colors are red, white, and blue. The majority of them are veterans of the Korean War. They've won so many championships it would take me from here to Christmas to mention them all. But I don't have to. They speak for themselves. Here they are.
represents the New York City Center, which round the year, under the guidance of Gene Dalrymple, brings audiences the finest in ballet, opera, and drama. One of the City Center's greatest hits was the musical play Carousel. And one of Carousel's most exciting songs is the one the City Center's Light Opera Company sings now. This was a real nice clam bake.
Cooked in iron kettles, onions floating on the top, curling up in petals, shrouded in ribbons of salted pork.
An old New England trick.
And lapped it all up with a clamshell tied onto a bayberry stick.
Oh, it was a real nice clam bake, and we all had a real good time.
Remember when we raked them red-hot lobsters out of the driftwood fire? They sizzled and crackled and sputtered a song, bitten for an angel's fire.
Bitten for an angel, bitten for an angel, bitten for an angel's fire. We slid 'em down the back and peppered 'em good and doused 'em in melted butter.
Then we tore away the claws and cracked them with our teeth, 'cause we weren't in a mood to putter. Bitten for an angel, bitten for an angel, bitten for an angel's fire.
Then at last come the clams, steamed under rockweed and puffing from the shells. Just how many of them galloped down our gullets, we couldn't say ourselves. Oh, this was a real nice clam bake. We're mighty glad we came. The victuals we ate were good, you bet. The company was the same. Our hearts are warm, our bellies are full, and we are feeling pride. This was a real nice clam bake, and we all had a real good time. We said it before and we say it again. We all had a real good
Well, now here's a song that'll set your feet to tapping, and a spectacle that will dazzle your eyes. It's the Cloverleaf String Band of South Amboy, New Jersey. Those feathery headdresses the men are wearing must measure at least 10 feet across. I think if a strong wind came along, it looks as if they could take off like kites. Here they are. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm Alabama bound.
Everything worked fine. I think we're ready now for Ralph Donnell, ace Grumman jet test pilot, speaking for Lionel Trains.
Hi, this is my friend, the Grumman Tiger. It's a jet, and I'm Ralph Donnell, its test pilot. It takes a lot of training to control one of these babies. My son Wayne will learn someday.
Right now, though, he's getting ready by learning to control a Lionel electric train. With the Lionel train, you not only get locomotives and cars, but all sorts of missile and rocket equipment, too. For instance, these missile launchers. And take a look at this IRBM launcher. 3, 2, 1, fire. Wow. And look, you can put this target car back together again and blow it up again. What happens when there's a fire? Why, call up the Lionel Fire Corps, of course. And here's something nobody's ever seen before. Lionel's illuminated aquarium car with moving tropical fish. And when you want to send out a scouting party, do it with a helicopter. Lionel makes a flat car especially for launching copters. And when you release them, they actually take off and fly. This grand old Western train is called a General, and it's an authentic copy of the trains you see in TV Westerns. And here's how you make the Lionel General smoke. The wonderful thing about this equipment is that you're in control. Yep, on the Lionel line, you're the boss. Tell Mom and Dad you want a Lionel electric train, the Christmas present that lets you be the boss. Remember the name? Lionel.
You get on the track for fun, kids. Ask your mom and dad for Lionel trains for Christmas. Say, here's a car that does all the things that cars shouldn't do. I don't know what's going on over. Oh, he's getting a shower bath there. That's a very hot car he's got out there. Oh. Well, his face needed a little washing anyway. What's he going to do now? Well, that's a mean old car. Oh. Car doesn't like that.
Well, there she blows still, a monster from the deep, a whale nearly 40 feet long, blue and green and glistening as she is just plowed up from the bottom of the ocean. Pulled along by this spectacular whale is a fantasy recalling the Emily Morgan, a whaling ship that sailed the ocean under the command of Macy's founder, Captain Roland H. Macy. That's Captain Macy there in his oilskins and sou'wester, and he's being impersonated by the well-loved Broadway actor, Mr. Bobby Clark. Riding with Mr. Clark is 9-year-old Emily Grinnell, the great-great-granddaughter of the real Emily Morgan. And that's great, too.
Say, there's an extra feeling of excitement running through the crowds here as the great moment comes closer for Santa Claus to make his appearance. Now, coming just ahead of him is the Bergenfield High School Band of Bergenfield, New Jersey. This championship band has played before in Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade and for the New York Giants professional football team, a great honor for a high school band. In their red and black uniforms, 117 strong, they make a stirring spectacle of music and motion with this medley of Christmas music.
is, boys and girls, the moment we've all been waiting for, the arrival of old St. Nick, Kris Kringle, the man of the hour, Santa Claus. Away through the air they fly with a leap, for Santa's 8 reindeer, on Dasher, on Dancer, on Prancer and Vixen, on Comet and Cupid, and Dunder and Blitzen. Riding pride high on his jewel-encrusted sleigh, glittering with snow fresh from the North Pole, is Santa Claus. There he is.
Hello there, everybody. Hello there. It's good to see you again. You're looking wonderful. Oh, my, it's wonderful to be back here and see your bright and shining faces this morning. They've really got the Christmas spirit right in them, I can tell you that right now. Hello there, children. Hi there, Mary. Hello there, Henry.
Goodbye, Santa. There he goes, and as Santa Claus speeds back to the North Pole, the bands play one more Christmas music salute. Well, sir, this great big 33rd Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade is history now. It was really quite a spectacle. It was a lot of fun bringing it to you. I just hope you had as much fun as I did. Now, this is Gene Rayburn saying so long, happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next year. Bye.
And this is Bill Wendell on the NBC reviewing stand opposite Macy's, where we've seen one of the really most exciting parades ever presented. Until next year, when the roll of the drums brings another great parade of floats, bands, and giant balloons and stars, this is Bill Wendell saying, time to get ready for that big Thanksgiving dinner. Eat hearty, eat plenty. Goodbye, and have a happy Thanksgiving to you all.
From Herald Square in the heart of New York City, Macy's 33rd Annual Thanksgiving Day Parade
Was brought to you by Lionel, the leader in model railroading. Visit your Lionel dealer today and get your free Lionel catalog. And by the Ideal Toy Corporation, makers of the new life-size Play Pal dolls, the fabulous electronic fighter jet, and Shirley Temple dolls.
This has been an NBC Television Network production. Bill McCord speaking.